From the 915 to H-Town, from the Panhandle Plains to the Valley, and everywhere in between, this is the 50/50 Podcast, powered by the 50/50 Podcast Network. Join me, Hector Cano, as we cover the Texas high school club and college soccer landscape, along with an inside look at the college soccer recruiting scene. The 50/50 Podcast is a platform about the people and for the people who are dedicated to the beautiful game. Here we go. We are back. We are live for day 3 here at the 2025 TASCO Texas High School Soccer Coaches Convention. It is episode 150, our final episode of the weekend. We're joined live by a great friend, Aaron Wessner, the head men's soccer coach of the Frisco Emerson Mavericks. Coach, how are you?
Man, great. To be here and have this opportunity to talk with you again. It's good.
Awesome. Long time we've had you. It's been, probably about 4 years since you've been on the pod,
yeah,
right?
2021, I think, is the summer when we were doing the Southeast All-American Showcase.
Yeah. And what was it? Refresh my memory. What was your role with that again?
So I was the U.S. event director. So
there you go.
I did a lot of recruiting and trying to find, players for that, sifting through our 1,500 nominations and video. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that lasted for about 3 years.
We did about 3 years.
Yeah.
A little behind the scenes. We took a little hiatus because Tyler Pineda, our president and owner of it, he had another baby. And so it was really hard to get going, all that stuff they had going on.
Yeah.
But there is some talks of bringing it back. And so
really?
We're kind of, I don't know, hopefully this summer, maybe the summer after. But there's definitely talks.
Good.
Trying to bring it home, trying to bring it here.
There you go. All right. Yeah. So big shout out also to Coach Pineda, a longtime friend of the podcast as well. So, Coach, we got the final sessions going on right now in the exhibit hall right now, down to a couple of sessions. I think maybe one more left.
Yeah.
So it always flies by. It's excitement. It builds up, and then boom, everyone goes their separate ways.
Yeah.
Heads back home. Thanksgiving week, and then boom, we get rock and roll on December 1st, right? So, your thoughts over the last couple of days here, just everything from the vibe, talking to coaches, the clinicians, the presenters, all of it. Just break it down for us. What are your thoughts?
Sure. I mean, it's kind of bigger than it's ever been. I think we had historic numbers as far as people attending, well over 1,000 people that have come.
Right.
So that's even bigger. And, we talked off camera about how I was here before. And back when I was a young assistant in my 20s and participated and, was at a couple of different sessions and just getting to see more sitting down, classroom type vibes, to now moving into these full-on sessions where we don't have coaches actually jumping in. We have the young kids instead that are out there doing the different sessions. But I think there's so much good stuff that you can take away, and there's practical drills that you can walk away from this and go apply right into your season. So, I mean, the growth of this thing is crazy, and I think it's so much more beneficial. I was telling you, I sat in a session yesterday with 2 referees that were talking about how they train our high school referees, what they train them to look for. They took us through different videos that we could watch, and then we make the call, and we got it wrong a lot of the time. a lot of the time.
Shocker.
And so he was, he basically told us, he was like, and you guys expect us to get it right.
Right.
But it was so beneficial. I mean, there was so much practical knowledge to take away from that, things to teach our kids. I mean, even him talking about, hey, whoever runs to get the ball is probably who's going to get possession. That's Rule 19. Whoever touches it first gets the possession. So teach your kids, go run and get the ball out of bounds, because most of the times we don't see who it went out off of.
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
That is funny. So just hearing him get to say things, and it's like, you know what, that's right. Let's teach hustle. Let's go get it.
Yeah. Good deal. I still remember the year one time, one of the first years, I was on the private side, at the private school side at the time, and this is what I think it was a regional final, I think it might have been, that I was coaching my girls in, and it was right when they had just started wearing mics, right? So, but little did I know that the ARs, that they could hear each other, right? So I'm complaining to the AR right in front of our bench about the center ref, and then he's all like, "Hey, he can hear you, by the way." I was like, "Oh, okay." Good. No, it's like, glad you. Nano, and I'm trying to remember our other.
Villalobos, I think is his name.
Yeah, was it
Yeah.
Jose Villalobos? I think it was. Yeah. I'm trying to blank on the name right now, the last name, but yeah, I've heard a lot of great stuff about that session.
That was really good.
So, conversations with coaches, thoughts, what seems to be on coaches' minds from the conversations you had with coaches here at Tasco?
Oh, listening to people talk, sat in a session yesterday, just talking about developing your sessions. Is how do we get a good positive practice in when we have so many kids that are out there? And I mean, I think it's more and more you've got coaches that are trying to coach 60 different kids at the same time, talking about how do you get through tryouts. I heard some really good beneficial things yesterday about, you already know, you've had most of the kids that are in your class.
Yeah.
You know who you're going to keep on those teams, and now you're going to have an additional 20 to 30 kids that come out and want to try out. What do you do with it? So
Excuse me, sorry.
So going into a tryout, they were talking about, you've got your guys, go ahead and take them, put them through their practice during the period, and turn them loose, send them home. You know what you're doing with them. That way you can focus all your attention on the 20 to 30 to 50 kids you got coming out to try out and see if you can find one. I think that's just gold knowledge to do. Listen to how other coaches have done things. That's the fun part about this.
Yeah, I think the tricky part, absolutely, I don't disagree with that one bit. I think, and I get it, when you start to get overwhelmed with numbers, I get it. I do. I think the tricky part is more so of, if let's say you have 15 to 20 that are your, I call them walk-ons, right? For your for your selection days. So I call them selection days. I dropped the term tryouts years ago because of just how it gets in kids' heads in terms of anxiety, right?
Sure.
Even the kids that have been in the class all fall, right? And they hear the word tryout and they're like, oh my God. But anyway, I think one of the things that I've thought about is where it gets tricky is, let's say you have 15 to 20 that are coming out, and then so you might be able to assess some of their skills, but then you want to try to see, it's like, okay, can I see them against what would be my projected varsity players, or what would be my projected ones, right? My projected starting lineup. How would they fare then? So I get it. It's very much gray. It's very and it depends how many coaches you have out there. It depends on the numbers too. Yeah. I get that. Anything else that kind of caught your eye over the last couple of days?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we were talking in another one about just resiliency of kids. It seems like it's going down. And they talk about kids aren't as mentally tough as we used to be growing up. And I don't think that's necessarily a fair assessment, but I do know there's a part of it, and we talk about the instant gratification thing, where these kids nowadays, man, if they want to know something, if they want to find something out, they can instantly find it out, and they can even have an AI tell them all the things that they need to do. And if they want to learn how to cook eggs, they can ask an AI, how do I cook eggs? And to them, those are the best eggs they've ever had.
Right.
Where we had to, if we want to learn how to cook, hopefully we had a dad or a mom who
trial
knew
and
how to
error,
cook,
man. Trial and
figure
error.
it out. And so we're asking these kids to do something that's going to take time. They're not instantly better.
No.
You see that the frustration level for them when they fail, then they don't want to go back and do it because I can do a bunch of other things that I can be okay at, at least okay, or even be be somewhat good at if I'm just doing it little by little instead of having to focus on my time and effort and devotion into getting better at like a sport.
Right. And I think the psychology of that's one of the biggest. Again, I don't even call it anxiety. It's just an outright phobia of our current generation of student athletes, right? It's like I'd rather save face and therefore not try. So this way I won't have to say that I failed.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And there's who you become in that process though, right? That's when we talk about the culture builders and what we're trying, the adversity piece, what you learn from that and how you become better. So you can't run from that. And I think that's one of the key pieces. 9 out of 10 coaches, if not 10 out of 10 coaches, know that. But I think it's a matter of how do we deliver that message, right, to our kids, right, to our kids. And that can be, and we were talking about it yesterday, that message can be delivered very differently when you're coaching boys versus when you're coaching the girls, right? So
absolutely.
And that's a whole other ball of wax.
Yeah.
But so you have a unique perspective, right? We talked about your time when you were away. You were on the podcast before. You were here, left, went to Georgia, high school coach, coaching club, in a different, in a different state, different part of the country, and then you came back. What did that kind of a two-parter here? What did that time away from here, you were in Georgia, what did that teach you, or what did that make you realize in terms of perspective about Texas, and how did that time in Georgia help you now that you're back?
Sure. I think one of the perspectives always is Texas is one of the best states, if not the best, for soccer.
Yeah.
And I think I went there going with that knowledge too. And then I got a little bit humbled at some points with some of the teams that we saw there because, you've got – if you know that area very well, but it is a carpet community where we have so many immigrants that are there living and working
Really?
in the carpet industry. So
Really?
you've got these
Okay.
kiddos that are growing up together from the age of 2 and 3 playing soccer all the way into high school, and they're still in the same high school team.
Yeah.
And they are phenomenal kids.
Yeah.
There's a great coach out there that works with them and just knows that community well. And I guarantee you could bring them here and they would challenge anyone.
How does in the high schools, what's the class system breakdown in Georgia? Is it like a 5A, 6A?
They go all the way up to 7A.
7A.
Yeah. And so we only have 6A, 5A, now 4A, talking about getting 3A. They have it all the way in every sport, in every classification. It goes from 1A all the way up to 7A, where they all play.
Yeah.
So you have all those different levels that are playing high
They
school
got
soccer.
that many kids
They
playing.
got that many kids playing.
Now, how big? Now, what is I guess from what you remember, what is the classification breakdown? Number of regions, number of schools. Obviously 7A
Sure.
probably is the biggest, but may not have the most.
Yeah, so they do, instead of districts out there, they do regions.
Okay.
So you'll have across the board, I think it's like 8 regions that'll make it. So 8 regions with 4 teams from each region that'll go. So they'll have 32 teams. So the difference in that, where we make a playoff and we go into Region 2 and we've got to survive Region 2 to get to state, there your district, so to speak, your 4 teams, all get split into different corners.
Oh, okay.
So you're now playing, and you won't see anybody from your district until the semifinals.
Okay.
And so the district that I was in out there in the Cobb County area, that's kind of like the Frisco area.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's some of the best soccer that's around. You've got 6 of the top 10 teams in the state that play in that, with only 4 teams making the playoffs.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you would see 3 to 4 of those teams in the semifinals.
Yeah. I remember, what I remember most about Georgia? So when I went there, I did my, oh my God, this was maybe 2017 maybe?
Yeah.
I did my then NSCAA, right? For those of you who don't know, United Soccer Coaches used to be National Soccer Coaches Association of America. Did my NSCAA Director of Coaching diploma there in Atlanta. And it was hosted by, is it Top Hat, I think?
Yeah,
Club,
NASA
right?
Top Hat, yeah.
And it was a great experience. It was a good amount of high school coaches out of Georgia. A great experience. I think there was 4 of us there from Texas. And moving away a little bit from TASCO, right? The convention itself, but maybe Texas high school soccer at large. Your thoughts on, you've been back for a little while now. You're at the helm. This is your 2nd year as the head coach at Frisco Emerson. What's different from the time that you left to that you came back? You start looking at Texas high school soccer as a whole. Maybe part of it is also the experience here, but also back in your district at home. What's different about Texas high school soccer from when you left to when you came back?
I would say the depth of it. You're going to talk about, out in Georgia, we would go play, and my team had some great players. But we would hit 2 or 3 really, really good players, and then the drop-off after that just goes, and it goes fast.
Yeah.
Whereas here, you've got your 2 or 3 really great players, and then the drop-off is not as much. And so your depth here is just so much more, which makes every team so much tougher to play.
Yeah.
I think it still is. Texas high school soccer is, and even football, any high school playoff is a gauntlet to have to get through.
Yeah.
And definitely one of the hardest things you'll ever have to experience as a coach, the ups and downs of all those. But even getting there for us, getting there in the Frisco area, in the North Texas area, is harder and harder every year.
Yeah. And we were talking about that yesterday in, I think, episode 149, I think it was with Coach Bamel, Coach Maloney from Lake Travis, right? We got on the topic of just the humbling part of how many, you talk about the depth of players, but also the depth to the quality of coaches in Texas, high school soccer coaches, and who will never. And I mean, I'm talking about incredible coaches who may never experience, a state title, a state final, a state semifinal.
Yep.
Right? It's humbling.
It is.
It's humbling. It's humbling, but it also speaks to the quality. So I think so. There's a lot of pride in that as well. So the year that was last year, 24-25,
Sure.
I've talked about it with just about every high school coach I've spoken with here in terms of how different it was, how historic it was, from the implementation of, the mercy rule to the D1, D2 split, how fast it kind of came down. It was implemented I think, caught a lot of us by surprise. And then as well as the implementation of the Texas way. What are your takeaways when we mixed all of that into last year? What are your thoughts on that?
Man, I'll tell you right away, hot take. I think we need to we do the split before the season even starts.
Okay.
That would be one that would be helpful. I think for us, it was just one of those bounces, like you're trying to make a playoff spot and you just try to get in. But then as a coach, you just naturally start to look ahead like, all right, well, if this team makes it, then we go here. And then what does that mean on who we could play? Where's a better spot for us to be? Is it a better spot for us to be in D2? Or is it, there's just so many different elements that you really shouldn't be focusing on, but you end up focusing on it. So one of those things is the split would be awesome if we would do it ahead of time, and we would be more like football. Why not?
Yeah.
Why don't we keep all the regions just the same?
Right.
But there's that. I do love the aspect of the D1, D2. I like that we have more people that are experiencing state championship runs.
Yeah.
It is a little bummer, I think, to get away from the semifinal, the state semifinal, being all there and getting to incorporate like a 2-day thing.
Right. The data on that is so weird, man, because so you just those 2 points you just hit on, right? 9. So we had last year at state, we had 9 out of our now 12 state champions were first-time champions, right? Which is awesome. And we didn't just see it just in soccer.
Yeah.
You saw it in volleyball, you saw it in basketball. So many new schools that were in the mix, right? But also the irony part, you talk about the state tournament. Like, I agree, right? The traditional state tournament format would be awesome. It's been awesome. But the irony was there was more tickets sold. More people attended in less games. So I think UIL stepped back and kind of looked at that too, right? And it was a great event, as far as the state championships go, because you didn't have any runaway state semifinals, blowout. There was some games that were, I told Will Maloney before, he'll kill me for this, but when they played Coppell in the final, and it was 6-2 final, right? Coppell, but it was probably the most exciting 6-2 game I've ever seen. It was just, Lake Travis was countering back and forth, but Coppell they would just score in bunches. But it was great goals, wide open game, fun game to watch. I know at times he'll disagree with me, being on the losing end of that, but I was like, dude, your girls, they went all out. They played and they challenged a great Coppell team. So I think so it's just weird, the data on that. But so we talk about the D1, D2 split. What else? What other thoughts?
Oh, well, I know my only thoughts are trying to get in the playoffs. Like, that's where our whole goal is. But the season as a whole was a lot of fun. It flies by. It goes by fast. But one thing that, if you want to go back to talking about the differences between Texas and Georgia, being able to spread our season out longer, Georgia condenses it down to 11 weeks. You got to play it in. And they're playing 18 games in an 11-week span with basically no tournaments either. So that's where they get away different. So I think just being able to spread those games out, man, that's one of the challenges going into this year is the amount of miles on our kids' legs already, before we're getting into the season. And
that was a great conversation. That was a key question that Dan Moore had for me from Wrexham yesterday, because he's trying to, it's first time in the States, first time obviously here in Texas. And he's kind of trying to get his head wrapped around the high school component within also the club system, right? And that was his question. It's like, hey, how do you handle the load management, the periodization piece? And I think if you're a coach, if you're a high school soccer coach in today's game, you have to be aware of that. You have to be if you know, and if you have a high volume of club players, you have to be aware of what's going on with them on the weekends, how many games, their workload, all of that. And I've largely now with my girls in my program at New Braunfels Canyon, I've built that into our Mondays and Fridays.
Sure.
A lot more.
Yep.
A lot more. So, and I think it took them initially when I got there, because obviously I'm in my first year there. They're like, hey, why are we doing this on Monday? Why are we doing this on Friday? About 2-3 weeks into their club fall season, and when I explained it to them, they started to get it.
Yeah,
they started to get it a lot more. Yeah.
Yep.
So, excuse me. We're live here, episode 150 with Aaron. Aaron Wessner, head men's soccer coach of Frisco Emerson Mavericks. We are live again here from the 2025 TASCO, Texas High School Soccer Coaches Convention in beautiful Moody Gardens in Galveston, Texas. Coach, we transition here. Now we start talking about your boys, right? Yeah. 24-25 season. You came up, obviously extremely close to qualifying for the playoffs.
Very close.
In one of the most, just competitive districts that there is, not just in your classification, but in all of Texas high school soccer. Tell us, you talk about the year that was from your perspective. One, maybe two key takeaways from your perspective as the head coach that when the season was over, you immediately knew, hey, we need to work on this to prepare us for 25-26.
Sure. I think the big takeaway for us is consistency. Consistency in how we play for 80 minutes. Because that's, you want to talk about scoring in bunches or playing well in certain parts of the games. That's where we really did well. Yeah. We would take over the first 15 minutes or the last 15 minutes of games most of the time. And that comes to our conditioning and everything that we do as a program, which the boys hate it, but they love it. I remember this year we started our conditioning ramping up kind of about a month ago. And one of our sophomore, who's a captain on varsity, played on varsity every minute last year, he looked at the freshman and he goes, guys, this is going to be awful. I promise you, but you'll never take another deep breath again in your life. Yeah. I was like, okay, that's a good way of looking at it. I don't think that's necessarily true, but yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. So for us, from last season, gosh, like we talked about that game, you had everything from a coaching perspective that you would want your boys to be in, being at home, getting a full stands out there, which you don't normally see often. Right. We joke around and laugh a lot that the freshman games are usually more packed than the varsity games are. Really? Because the parents just showing up early, wanting to see their kids play, and then later as the night goes, it gets a little bit colder, and then you just start to see you're losing attendance. But it's crazy that we had everybody out there. We had a band drum line that was out there. We had the entire football team, the basketball teams, and it was everything you wanted. And we just were not ready for the moment. I think that was it. Our kids they started playing from a sense of, you want to talk about anxiety, like we can't lose this game. Yeah. Instead of, hey, we're going to go win this game and get ourselves into the playoffs. And, we fell 1-0 to a really, really good Liberty team that worked hard. Our district last year, Centennial was district champs. You had Heritage, you had Memorial, and then Liberty that went in. We took Centennial to a 3-2 game. They beat us 2-0 the first time we played them. We split with Memorial. We split with the Heritage. So we felt like we were in that mix of good teams on that top end. We just had to do a couple little things different, and hopefully we kind of figured out that formula, and we're going to attack it this year and see what we can do, try to get in, try to make the playoffs for the first time in school history. I was very fortunate taking over this program from Justin Lowry.
How long has Emerson been open now?
Gosh, it's going to be our fourth or fifth year. Fifth year, I think. Fifth year open, but
you talked about Justin
year with seniors,
taking over from Justin. Yeah,
taking over from Justin, man. You want to talk about a guy that just built an amazing foundation to start that school. Right. I came in his third year, and was an assistant with him, and we got to work with this group. Yeah, like I said, this is our third senior class that we're going to have. So you're talking about a very young program that's kind of these seniors didn't have a whole lot of upperclassmen to look after, to look up after and see how is the way we do it. So they're driving the culture of this program and trying to teach these younger guys, what it's all about and how to play this game and do it the right way. Right. But I think we're trending in the right direction. Yeah. It's just it's gonna take some luck.
Yeah. Well, you guys had some luck along the way from end of the season. Well, okay, let me go back. Yeah. One of the things, for the life of me, I cannot recall where I heard this. It was on a podcast, and I don't know if it was Eric Winaldo. I have to try to track it down because this was, oh my God, this was probably, I think, over the summer when I heard it. But he was talking about how the irony of it all was, he was talking about high school and club soccer,
Mm-hmm.
and so that situation you were just talking about in that game to potentially qualify for the state playoffs versus Liberty. He was talking about that exact thing where how the irony is the high school game could some of our kids developing to play in big spots, big moments
Sure.
when they progress in the club system, but ultimately for the U.S. men's national team.
Yeah.
They were talking about how the closest thing that mirrors that is the high school game.
Yeah.
Like, because we've all been to plenty of club games and we know
Right.
they're not big turnouts, right?
No.
So I get it. I could see how that's sometimes sometimes the big crowds, even though you're the home team, can work against you,
Yeah.
right? Just the nerves,
Yeah.
right? So but I think that's one more thing that's going to help your boy. That's a lesson learned.
Oh, it was
right?
a big lesson.
Yeah, that's a
big
lesson
lesson learned for them.
Yeah.
And then, going into the summer, and
Yeah.
we have our chances to do workouts and different things like that. We had high participation at off-season workouts, which are great. Getting kids in the weight room. We're very
Well, this
fortunate.
summer I was going to talk about.
Yeah.
You guys had success with Justin's TST,
Yeah,
right?
with the TST, I mean, mirrors the one that's in North Carolina during
Yeah,
the summer.
yeah.
But I mean, I think it's so much fun, and I think what he's doing there at Melissa has the great facilities to be able to make it happen. That's
yeah.
going to get bigger and bigger every year.
Yeah.
And we want more and more teams to come out and participate and just have fun.
Yeah.
The atmosphere of it being every game ends in a golden goal.
Right.
So much fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, we saw a lot of success. I think we had the fact that we had the majority of our team that wanted to participate and be a part is what helped us succeed too. You've got a consistency of players that play together all the time and they know the game. And then, maybe practicing a little bit about what the movement looks like in a
Right,
small-sided game in 7v7.
It's fun to watch, man.
Man, it is. It's
fun to
high-paced.
watch.
It's high-scoring.
Yeah.
I mean, I think one of the games we put in 17 one game.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. And we saw success. We did well. We won the tournament.
That can only help their confidence. That can only
Yeah.
help their confidence. Shout out Justin Lowry, now at Melissa. Yeah, I joked with him when I had him on over the summer on talking about the TST, but I joked with him about how when my daughter, my older one, was playing club there at the Zplex, right?
Yeah.
I told him, I said, I saw that monstrosity get built for like about a year and a half.
Yeah.
So but yeah, shout out to Coach Lowry. So now, the year that is, what maybe 1-2 things has you the most excited, and somebody that should be on. Well, let me go back real quick. You mentioned the golden goal in TST.
Sure.
I was kind of getting on my soapbox about it a little bit this weekend, yesterday in particular, on how why not bring that into the state playoff format?
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Why not? Like, I don't see why not, and just it adds to the excitement.
It
and
does.
It's the one time in our sport where you could have a potential just walk off, situation.
Yeah.
So, and I think it just adds to it.
Well, I'm in full agreement with that.
When I was a college coach, I loved it. I loved
Yes,
it, and
yeah.
you're seeing it right now in the NCAA tournament,
Yeah.
right? So, excuse
I
me.
think it was Ohio State beat Notre Dame the other day. Wasn't it Notre Dame?
It was yesterday. I think it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy
Yeah.
goal
Yeah.
to walk it off.
I know.
Yeah.
It's awesome. But okay, go back to the question. I
Yeah.
was talking about this year, right? One maybe thing that has you the most excited, and somebody that maybe the state of Texas should know more about one of your guys.
So most excited probably about our depth. Last year we started 4 freshmen. Now, unfortunately, I lost one of them. Very torn about.
Yeah.
He was like, Coach, I want to be here. His brother's a senior this year too, so he's like, I want to play with my brother. But I was like, dude, you gotta go.
Yeah.
It's one of those things you'll never get to experience in your life playing for FC Dallas Academy.
right.
So we did lose him,
And that's awesome. I'm glad you support him on that.
Oh, absolutely. And then we have we have 3 other freshmen that started last year that are now in the mix. Got a fourth and fifth one that are coming up from JV. Our team is really young, but then we have 6 seniors that are in the mix on the starting lineup. And so we have this mix of youth and seniority that have been around, that have been playing for, all 4 years, some of them all 4 years on varsity. And there's just that excitement to that depth piece. Like, you look every part, there's not a weak part of our lineup. And so that excites me. As a coach, when you're looking at the other team, you look for ways to exploit. And when I'm looking at our team, there's not an angle. There's not somewhere that you can go pick apart. And so I think the way we play the game, the transition to what style that we've played with our high press, I mean, we try to keep you back in your half, and we're not going to let you out.
Yeah. Have you seen the supportive I guess for lack of better words, the translation support from TST to how you guys want to play now in the 11v11?
I
Have you
think in
seen
the
that?
movement aspect, I think one of the biggest things too this summer, a lot of our guys did futsal.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
they would
love
go
futsal.
inside
Love
in the
futsal.
gym, and shout out to one of the guys who's helping us out, Brendan Lee,
Mm-hmm.
who used to play for me at Centennial when I was
Yeah.
assistant coach there. Went on to play at SMU,
Right.
played professionally in indoor,
Yeah.
and then played for the U.S. national futsal team.
Was he the? I don't know. You might have not been here. Was he the? One of the tech ball guys that was here as a
Yes.
vendor. Yeah, I
Yes,
know.
he
Yeah,
was.
yeah. I had
Yeah.
him actually. I had him on the podcast.
He got us
yeah.
a tech ball table out in Georgia when he was doing that.
Yeah, I had him on the podcast that year that they were here.
Yeah.
I know exactly who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
so he's helping us out a lot, and
Yeah.
especially looking at a lot of the guys playing futsal and doing those things.
Yeah.
And that translation from getting to see them do that this summer and then now bringing them into the period.
Okay.
There's a lot of kids that were on our JV2 team that I was like, they're great kids, but they're probably not going to make varsity.
Okay.
I'm looking at them now like, wow. Like,
Yeah.
what a difference that futsal has done for you guys and your ball movement. So
Yeah.
I think the movement aspect of learning how to play futsal, and so then we translated that into August. We get out there where it's too hot and you're not allowed to be outside.
Right.
We practice fourth period with baseball and softball, who also want to be in the indoor. So we were like, we're gonna go to the gym. We got futsal balls, we got a futsal goal, and we're
Yeah.
gonna go play.
Yeah.
And so we did a lot of that. I think that right there has me most excited. The technical aspect of kids' games has grown so much
Yeah.
because they're able to get on a ball
Right.
and play around as much. So seeing that, the movement that requires in small-sided games, translating that into the big game. We were able to play some fall league games, where I myself can't coach, but I can just go sit in the stands and watch, right? And this fall, we played 6 games, went 5-0-1. We scored 22 goals. So it's one of those things. That's a lot of goals scoring in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
So I think our offense has me excited. The second year of us running this formation and this press is really good, and
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of good things to
That's good.
expect out of this. I know that our press and the way we do things is hard to handle. The Centennial coach, he told us after the second time we played him, he goes, when we practice 13 on 11 just to simulate the way you guys press.
Wow,
And
is
I was
awesome.
like, that's kind of cool to
Yeah.
hear. I
Yeah.
hate that we still couldn't win the game.
Yeah.
You guys did well and beat us, but
Yeah.
but to hear that another team is having to do that just to prepare for us is
Yeah.
it's good. It's good.
Yeah,
sign.
absolutely. That's
Yeah.
a great compliment. Great compliment. So, episode 150, we are talking live with Aaron Wessner, head men's soccer coach of the Frisco Emerson Mavericks. Coach, did want to give you a shout out, give your boys a shout out for
Sure.
this lovely beast you brought us
Oh,
here.
yeah.
So, love this awesome, awesome scarf. And talk to us a little bit. One of the things I wanted to ask you about, you've got your motto for the season,
Sure.
right?
Yep.
Okay, so I don't know if you can, let's try to hold this up. Oh, this is great audio.
Yeah.
Termina nuestra historia. Tell us a little bit about that. How did that kind of come to be as the motto? How are you guys using that to propel you guys this year?
Sure. So, last year we felt like there was a lot unfinished to our season. Going into that last game against Liberty, I'll be honest, I was not preparing to lose that game. It never even cross my mind.
Yeah.
So we were thinking about next steps and things that we were trying to do as far as getting into the playoffs and who we were going to play and how do we prepare and get these kids prepared for a playoff game that they've never experienced before. But it became more, man, our story is kind of unfinished. And we need to finish that story.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where the slogan came from.
Nice. I like that.
I always put the Spanish translation on it because I think it just looks better and sounds
Now, did you
better,
pick
too.
that, or did they come up with
No, I did. I picked that out.
Okay.
So we had a good time. A lot of our boys, we're very diverse across what we have.
Nice. That's
So they
awesome.
love seeing that too.
Yeah.
But back to, you said one player, and I'll kick myself if I don't mention him. One player that the state needs to know about, man, that's John Pacheco for us. He is our center attacking mid. He's played winger for us.
Excuse me.
Obviously, we're very young school, so our career records are not. I mean, he's got the career record in goals already, and he's going to look to extend that this year.
Yeah.
But he was a 2-time United Soccer Coaches All-State selection.
Nice. Okay.
As a sophomore and a junior, so he's heading into his senior year.
Senior year.
He has a full ride offer to DBU right
Nice.
now.
Great school, great program.
A great program.
Yeah.
So we're excited for him for that to be able to go on to the next level.
So
and
he's
play.
verbally committed there?
He's close.
Yeah.
We're trying to talk him into it. I think It's funny with these kids. Sometimes they're like, "What should I do?" I was like, "This is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You're not going to have to pay to go play at school."
Dude, fabulous school too.
Oh,
man.
great school.
Fabulous school. Yeah.
So, but we've got him that's kind of leading. He's one of our captains. He's been on the team since he was a freshman, working hard. And to me, he's the best player in our district. We lost some really good.
Nice.
We lost some really good players last year that were seniors that played really well. But I think he's going to slide right in and be one of those best that's there. And we'll see. We'll see how the year goes. Play team double.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give us that name one more time.
John Pacheco.
John Pacheco. Love it. So we start to wrap up here, Coach. We start to transition. What I've been doing with all of our guests, I introduced it recently in the podcast, and I brought it with us here to the convention, is give you the opportunity. I've been blasting you with questions for 35 minutes now.
Sure.
Give you the opportunity to ask me one back. Anything on your game, Texas High School Soccer, the podcast, the Texas School Convention, whatever, floor is yours.
All right. So let's talk about
Excuse me.
let's talk about club and high school soccer.
Oh, God.
Yeah, no, this is good because this is one thing that I'm a big supporter of club soccer and want the kids to play. But you talked a little bit about it, but I'd love to hear what you are from a week-to-week basis. How do you handle midweek practices where you're having a practice and then they're going to a second practice, sometimes third practice in one day? Tell me how you handle those situations with those kids.
Well, I guess peeling back the curtain a little bit, not too much, but obviously well, I could probably go for like 20 minutes straight on this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the Cliff Notes version, I would say, so what I try to do is this is a perfect example, right? I'm new to this program at Canyon, and phenomenal group of young ladies, and easily the most amount of club players I've ever had, right? And they're at all different levels, and I'm talking from seniors to freshmen, right? And so all different levels. Some of them, multiple of them play on the same team too, right? So, so typically what I try to do is I started with assessing find out who your club players are first.
Yeah.
Then have some of it you'll get an idea for their skill level right away. But then trying to figure out. So one of the things that I do is I make go watch. I didn't want because her game has been rescheduled twice when I was going to go see her. Make it all in that environment, right? So I ask for all their schedules, and when I ask for all their schedules, whether I get to go see them or not, that gives me insight into their workload, right? Just on the weekend, speak to them as to, hey, how often do you guys practice? When do you guys practice? Not that is what drives. Excuse me. Not that that's what drives our workload during the week in soccer class, but that's just an additional factor that I have to include, right? So, excuse me. So what I do is typically, especially in the beginning, I talked about it before, mainly Mondays, but also sometimes Fridays, they're kind of built in inactive recovery days, right?
Yeah.
So, especially when I know they're going to have heavy workloads on the weekend, and what that will look like, we're in the classroom, whether it's culture, whether it's X's and O's, whether it's film, video, whether it's even the Texas Way. That's another opportunity, right? These videos, different things. And sometimes it's team building events. I was bragging on my girls yesterday because one of the things that we did this past week, especially part of it, me being gone, me being here, is we brought back a tradition of what's called or competition week. Sorry.
Yeah.
So what they did, so last Friday they had a full blown draft, right? So going back to that Friday, so we didn't do anything Friday. We're in the classroom for this draft, right? And they were hyped about it too. So we had this draft, and so they select teams, and this is everybody in the class, right? So it kind of came down to 5 teams. And so each week, so Monday was scrimmaging, Tuesday was soccer, tennis, Wednesday was relays with anything but a baton, right?
Yeah.
They had anything but shin guards for their scrimmage day, and then it was hilarious.
That is
and then
funny.
I'll have to show you the video.
Yeah.
And then Thursday was crazy sock wrestling, right? And then Friday they ended up having my assistants. They did a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire soccer trivia, right? So, but the best part in all of that is the team bonding component.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to get to know your boys, know your girls, but sometimes an infusion of something different
Absolutely.
constantly
Yeah.
keeps them sharp. But it's also another way to kind of manage that workload that you're talking about,
Yep.
right? But the competition piece was the critical part because no matter what they're doing, they're just extremely competitive,
Yeah.
right? And they get after it, which I love to watch. And that's a big thing of what we're preaching, there at Canyon, is that it doesn't make you're not being a bad sport because you want to compete,
Yeah.
because you want your team to win,
Yeah.
right? It's how we do that that matters,
Absolutely.
right? So getting them to understand that, and so I do a lot of that. One of the things that I also do, where I'll use classroom sessions, is we do soccer journaling. That's something that
Yeah.
I went to 3 years ago now,
Yeah.
right? Huge difference.
Yep.
When you start talking about the visualization through writing of what our goals are, of who they're playing for,
Yeah.
of what they want to play, what they want to accomplish, what this program means to them.
Yeah.
You can unlock so much of that just in journaling. It's been a huge difference in my programs, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
So, and all I did was I went out, go out to Walmart, buy those 50 cent, those black composition books.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Bought like about, I think 60 of them, and then I issue them one each, and it's a huge difference. So sometimes when we get them in the classroom, some of it is that too.
Yeah.
So a number of factors. But then what we also do is, now don't get me wrong, I'm balancing the workload in terms of technical. Sometimes they're not physically demanding sessions,
Sure.
right? Especially when we only have them for in a 50-minute class that includes changing it,
Yeah.
changing clothes twice,
Yep.
getting them to lunch in our case. So sometimes they're heavy technical sessions,
Yeah.
right? And then sometimes we've progressed as the weeks have gone on further into the fall semester, more scrimmaging. We got in the weight room more because they were not in the weight room previously. Got in the weight room a lot more, started to assess their strength levels, and then started to incorporate. I think one of the strategic pieces was their 1 rep max day, right? Their max days.
Yep.
We tried to target on a Wednesday or Thursday somewhere where their max lactic acid buildup, soreness levels would peak well before they were going to go play a club in the weekend.
Sure.
So, but again, also the sense of get out there and compete.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if that helps you. I don't know if that answers the question.
That's good.
Yeah,
I mean,
but-
we had to balance this year a lot on, hey, we're going to do some heavy running today, but you may have a club game later tonight, like a random midweek club game.
Yeah.
And so I'd always tell them, communication's key. You
Yeah.
got to let me know when you're doing stuff,
Right.
what you're going to be doing, and then we can balance and move forward with whatever. But one thing you said kind of piqued a thought that we've kind of been working with, and our whole culture that we talk about at Emerson is Ubuntu, where it is, I am because we are. So trying to get the boys to understand when you can start to play for someone other than yourself,
Yeah.
it's going to change drastically the way you play. And starting to play for each other and for the community. And we watch so many different documentaries, and there's a Sunderland one, Sunderland Till I Die. And just watching the way that community rises and falls on how they do as far as a soccer team goes.
Right.
And I think my biggest takeaway from that is like we can provide an outlet of happiness to someone that's following our team, whether it be a parent, whether it be someone in the community. And then if we can provide that, why don't we do that?
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that kind of changed. I started that at Sprayberry my last year, and it completely has changed the way I coach these kids. And one thing that we've talked about over and over again is anxiety and having them build up. I read a study, and I'm kind of still diving deep into it and trying to figure out all the elements of it, where it talked about anxiety cannot exist in the brain when gratitude happens. So something I started in my classrooms.
Yeah.
Before we take tests, because I'm a geometry teacher, I'm always doing math stuff.
Yeah.
And so before we take tests, I'll have my kids write thank you notes. And they write thank you notes to teachers, parents, friends, administration, whoever. And just that release of gratitude right before we do something that's supposed to have high anxiety.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things, man. If you
like
can do
that. I
that
like
before
that. Yeah.
games, like we practice gratitude as most as we can so that we can get that anxiety out of us.
Yeah. One of the things I shared with my girls, so ironic. So now I had heard of it before, I just hadn't read it yet because there's a different one. I go through Daily Wisdom, but I started reading the Daily Stoic with our president, Tasco president Rob Bledsoe got me on it, right? But he said something that stood with me too when he talked about anxiety from the standpoint of what the Daily Stoics teach us is that all anxiety is worrying about the future.
Yeah.
And be in the moment, right?
Yes.
Is of catching that and focus on what we can control, not the down the road, right?
Sure.
In the moment. So he said that, and yeah, that stood with me too, and that's something I've shared with my girls. But
Yeah.
I got to tell you, the journaling piece has been so critical in terms of our program this year, right? Being new,
Yeah.
My seniors, they're on their third coach in 4 years. My juniors, they're on their third coach in 3 years.
Yeah.
And getting to know them, but I think where I feel the powerful moments happen in our program that have helped us is as we progress more and more journaling, you start to see their vulnerabilities drop,
Yeah.
right? And what we learn from them through that is incredible.
Yeah.
That gives me the information. So now I know how I can better approach and coach this one individual versus this individual, right? And get the absolute most out of them.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
it's powerful. It's pretty awesome. So episode 150, we are talking with Aaron Wessner of the Frisco Emerson Mavericks. Coach, this has been awesome. Really appreciate you. I know we are going to take up a little bit as this bad boy is going to go home with you, our backdrop sign here for the 2025 Tasco Convention. Last year, it was Eric Alonzo of the Irving MacArthur. So put it to good use.
Oh, yeah,
all right,
sure.
sport. All I ask is don't sport it weak, man. That's all I ask.
No, definitely not.
No, we appreciate you. But before we let you go, final thoughts, shout outs, thank yous, anything as it relates to the game, the convention, our sport, what have you. The floor is yours.
Oh, shout out to Tasco for sure for just putting this on every year, giving us coaches a chance to learn from each other and learn from some of the best across the world. I know the Liverpool sessions that I got to go to with Jason Doggett and talking about aggressive pressing, he gave me so much more that we can think about inside of a practice session. So definitely there. Shout out to Dr. Summers at Frisco Emerson, by far the best principal I've ever worked for in my life. I mean, I don't know, you've been around a couple different places. Have you ever seen where a principal opens up her home on Thanksgiving to bring all the staff in? And she's like, if you got a place you don't have to go, come on over. Even if you do and you just want to come hang out, my house is open. So that's the kind of leader she is, and the kind of school that we have. We're just collective, man. We're all together. And it really makes for an easy place to get up and go to work every day. So definitely shout out to her. And to Coach Ellis, our head football coach, athletic director, man, without his support and his, walking side by side with us through everything we do, man, we would not be able to do the job we do. So definitely big shout out to them and all my boys back at Frisco Emerson. I know a couple of them are watching right now and excited to get started, man, the week after Thanksgiving. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, great stuff. Episode 1. Wrap up here. The 2025 Tasco Texas High School Soccer Coaches Convention. I want to thank all of our listeners, all of our supporters, all of our guests that joined us today. We ended up having, I think it was 10 interviews. Ended up with about 13 guests. I think
it's a lot of work. A lot of work for you.
Yeah, it should have been more. It should have had we not had the technical issues we had, and that's not even counting one that we did twice because of no audio. So, but we want to thank everybody. So from our task board as well. It's a little different this year. It's kind of historic, personally historic, just because now being a member as the director of content of Tasco was humbling and pretty awesome. Grateful for that. It's such a great group of not only coaches but people that are part of Tasco. And from our COO in Jimmy Kruger and his vision in allowing us to be here as bringing the podcast here, to our past presidents in Jared Shimon, Chris Wessner, just to name a few. Current president Rob Bledsoe, who really believe in me, really believe in the podcast and what we can bring in terms of helping grow our propel our unify our coaches and showcase our athletes. Really grateful for all of you. Thank you to all of our listeners and supporters. One big plug, don't go anywhere, because on Wednesday, that's the day before, on Thanksgiving Eve, we will be bringing the preview show, season 6, episode 1 of Inside Texas High School Soccer. Myself, along with my co-host Rafa, as well as we might have a couple of guests on there, including Kevin Goldman, City Soccer. So looking forward to that. And we might drop a second episode of Inside Texas High School Soccer next week as well. So don't go anywhere. Make sure you are checking us out. Go on there, like, rate, subscribe. Find us on On Twitter X, Twix as we call it, at 50_50 pod. On Instagram at 50_50 podcast. And on YouTube at the 50_50 podcast. YouTube is the big one that we're going to grow right now. So bell notification and you won't miss anything, just like, for example, an episode that we did yesterday with zero audio, right? Get to see we don't hide from that. We don't shy away from that. We're sincere. We're honest with that. But thank you to all of our listeners, all of our supporters, all the coaches I got to speak with this weekend here at Tasco. Grateful for each and every one of you. Had some fascinating conversations. But yeah, I mean, another convention in the books. Yep. Really appreciate all of you. So until then, again, don't miss us on catch us on Wednesday for, again, Season 6, Episode 1 of Inside Texas High School Soccer. But that'll do it from beautiful Moody Gardens here in Galveston, Texas for the 2025 Tasco Texas High School Soccer Coaches Convention. Until the next time, you know what to do. Keep downloading and keep listening. You've been listening to the 50/50 Podcast, powered by the 50/50 Podcast Network. Help us continue to grow by liking, rating, and subscribing on all major podcast platforms. And don't forget to follow us on X at 50_50 pod, on Instagram at 50_50 podcast, as well as on YouTube at the 50_50 podcast. Until the next time, keep downloading.